Stampede in Ibadan, Anambra, and Abuja has claimed the life of some Nigerians and raising a lot of questions concerning the cost of living in the country, which has led to so many reactions over the loss of the life in the cause of charity events, in the cause of palliative distribution. Some lives have been cut short, and of course, it's really a matter that I've really sparked some concern for the past few days, and even the president have to cancel some of his engagement rather in Lagos in the course of these sad tragic events in the country. But the former presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, has also raised and expressed some sorrow and concern over these tragic stampedes in Anambra State and Abuja that have claimed the lives of many individuals just yesterday, Saturday. And how he reacted, which he said a stampede which occurred during the distribution of food palliative to citizens and lighted the socio-economic challenges in Nigeria, saying that he's saddened and distressed by the tragic loss of lives in the desperate searches for food. A few days ago, about 35 people, mostly children, lost their life in a stampede at a Christmas fun fair in Ibadan, Oyo State. And just yesterday again, a report emerged of 10 people losing their lives in Abuja while scrambling for palliative, with many others that have been injured. There are those that are really concerned and lamenting that the economic hardship under the president's watch might be aware of why this is untold a concern and hardship has drawn a lot of Nigerians to this sad event. Because it raises the questions, how do we explain that in a nation that is blessed with abundant resources, Nigerians are dying of hunger in such numbers? How is that possible that we cannot feed our citizens despite the vast fertile lands our nation is endowed with? He really had to throw his side concern about all of that. That is coming from Mr. Peter Obi, and even Atiku Abubakar and every other prominent Nigerians have reacted. The president have responded. He has cancelled and commiserated with the lives and those that have this event have claimed their life. And of course, the hearts of the government are really going out to the family members and the loved ones of these victims of this sad event. There are a lot of questions and concern. Is it the failure of the organizers of such events, or do we continue to have it pegged that the economic situation might be the reason for these sad events? If this is happening at this month, this festive period, what happens for the previous month where there has been a concern about hardship and hunger, where we never had cases of stampede? How do we begin to address all of this? And in the course of those that are probably trying to render some good intention, some gesture, it might not end in a tragic event just like the ones that have happened in Ibadan, just also in Abuja at the Holy Trinity Church here in Maitama, very at the central area of the Federal Capital Territory, that have claimed life of these ones. How do we manage so that this abnormality may not be able to repeat itself again? It's still the questions and concern of many Nigerians. And of course, tonight we'll be giving justice to that conversation and knowing what other ways can we do, what should event planners and organizers begin to pay attention to avoid this situation. And on the part of the government, the concern and the call of the economic situation, what can government begin to do to tackle the issue of hunger in their country, most especially at a time like this where people are saying that they are hungry, which in many ways is posing a lot of questions to government approaches to the economic and inflation in the nation. Tonight on the program, we'll be showing that concern. And of course, we'll still delve back to the 2025 budget. Looks at Nigerians are now calling for a more strategic approach towards tackling the state of insecurity in the country. And are saying that the increased budgetary allocation alone may not be the answer. We've seen that security have been prioritized on this budget, that those that are observing that without the political will to end the high-level insurgency and general insecurity in the country, the entire budget of 2025 may not be enough to tame the scourge of the insecurity in this country. Tonight on the program, of course, I'm being joined by a public affairs analyst who, of course, will be highlighting some of these concerns. What ways can we handle such an event? And if it gets to escalate out of hand, what should Nigerians begin to do? I'll be joined by Dandy Johnson, a public affairs analyst, is live here on the show. Thanks so much for joining us, Dandy.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Yes. Lord, how do you feel about this sad event? First, it was issues in Ibadan. People were feeling, that just has to do with the mismanagement of the crowd. But it get out of hand. Some event happened in Anambra, and of course, in a year in Abuja again, it claimed the life of over 10 people that have been confirmed by the police. What would you, according to your own observations, feel might be what really should be the triggered actions that is really accompanying this event?
All right. First of all, I would like to commiserate with the families who have lost their loved ones. My prayers are with you, and I pray that God will comfort you in these trying times. So it will be very easy to point fingers at the organizers of this event that there were no accurate or adequate crowd control measures in place. But also, I would like to say, if this same thing had happened in Abuja, happened in Ibadan, happened in Anambra, and I think in Lagos when the customs were, if this same thing had happened in all these places, then there should be an underlying issue. And I would say it's the economic situation in the country, right? So I'll pinpoint three things. I would say poverty, food insecurity, and unemployment. These three things are the basis for this problem. So while we are blaming the organizers of this event for not having adequate crowd control measures in place, I think these underlying issues too work hand in hand to bring about what we are witnessing. Yes.
In respect to event organization, that those are really having a concern that, you have a budget before you organize an event. You look to say, okay, I'm expecting 50 people, I'm expecting 100 people and all of that. In a case where you also have some, palliatives, aware of the Christmas stand, aware of end of the year celebration, and all of those events that accompanies the times. And then sometimes it's a gesture, but those are few that a lot of proper planning ought to have been done.
Yes.
You ought to know the number that you're expecting.
Yes.
You ought to also have security presence in where you know that the number is more than a normal control crowd, because such stamping cannot happen where there are 20 people, for instance. Yes. So stamping cases cannot happen where there are 10 people. Yes. Let's say the number get out of hand from 100 or thereabout, it is scarlet. Would you not say that the event planners ought to also see how they can put measures when they now envisage that people may be coming to do these events, and then such things can get out of hand and out of their control, and which have led to the loss of these lives?
Yeah, what you're saying is very true. The event planners would have put these things in place. And also, I like to say that when you have made a plan A, you make a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, and so on and so forth, as much as you can take. In case your plan A doesn't work, you can fall back to plan B, fall back to plan C and plan D. Because, like you said, it's something that you're expecting a crowd. Now, you cannot tell for a fact how many people will come. Yes, so you should have that provision for an overflow,
especially when people they want to share food.
Exactly, free food at that. So you should have that provision for an overflow, so that if this thing happens, you can be able to manage this crowd. Yes. So I would say it's a multifaceted problem.
Let's get to address some of these. Those that are pointing fingers towards economic factors. I feel that the high cost of living, the hardship, the food inflation, scarcity as well, has led to a lot of people that some people went there in search of food. But in the flip side, the pictures that we are seeing that are coming from the internet and all of that, from these sad events, also shows people that you may, from your own eye, judge that they are okay. They are not poorest of the poor. They are not poorest of the poor. These are the people that looks healthy by virtue of you seeing them.
Yes.
But in reality, they also joined the queue. They were also contributing to the numbers. They were also contributing to the nuisance as well. Because when you are not invited, you are nuisance. So when we establish that fact, that in as much as there's the issues of economic situation, but that those are really having the concern that some greed, greed of some Nigerians may have also contributed to this sad event.
You're not wrong. But in the case of the people you talked about, where by mere seeing them you could tell these ones are not poor, I would say there are also two sides to the coin. There are those that are not poor, and then there are those that are poor, but they're actually packaging. Packaging.
They're hungry.
They are hungry, but they just have to.
But they are wearing clothes and all of that. So sometimes they judge them.
Yes, like we say in the street, they say, don't look like what you've been through. Yes, so there are people that don't want to look like what they have been through, so they package very well and come there. And then there are also those people who are well-to-do, but out of greed, and I would say fear too. Yes, greed and fear. Fear of the unknown, fear that this food I have is not enough. Yes, it may not take me. And given the present economic situations, I don't know how tomorrow will be. So let me
go and bring more.
Yeah, and store. You know, I saw a video. I stumbled on a video on the internet where somebody was saying, it was in Pidgin. He was saying, you don't know how tomorrow will be, and you they drink slimming tea. You know, so I was just laughing, like, you don't know how the next, because the way things are going, I don't know. We are just hoping.
So our economy is not predictable.
It's not predictable.
You may have food today, and tomorrow you may not have food to eat.
Yes. So our economy is just like the weather in Britain. It's not predictable. It can be sunny right now and then rainy the next moment. So the guy was saying, you don't even know how it will be, and you're taking slimming tea. It might be very bad for you in future. Yes. So those people, I would say greed and fear. Yes, greed and fear led them to jam-pack the place and constitute nuisance in that place, and then it led to that unfortunate event.
But is it wrong to extend gesture in a time like this? Because that those are really having a concern about the timing.
Yes.
One, but those that feel that, why do we have to wait until now that we put up such events, until maybe Christmas or December, end of the year, month, moments that we have to dose out palliative? That those that have a concern that why probably we ought to have been practicing this prior to this time. We ought to have been extending hands to people that are hungry and Nigerians that are vulnerable and all of that, so that we help each other as we're growing up.
Yeah.
That is now that the attention is as if everybody wants to eat rice.
Yes.
It looks that this rice, some Nigerians have been eating in the month of February, in the month of April, May, and the December rice sometimes looks so special. And the demand for such rice is so high, which has triggered these numbers that are really going out to queue and also causing some nuisance, because some of the event planners will tell you, we have a numbers, we have a targeted number. We have people that we have, invited, but in the cases where people hear of free food, because even the Senate president has said, where you see free food, I don't know if you are avail yourself where you see free food. So,
yes.
In context of food distribution and the timing that this gesture, this palliative is taking place, do you feel that it is right or is wrong, it's out of context?
Well, I would say it is not wrong. It is not wrong. Now, I know that there are people who before now have been doing these things in their own measure, in their own capacity. Yes, but then we also have to note that this is Christmas season, right? It's a season of giving, a season of sharing love. So we would say that people want to capitalize on this season to actually do the giving and the sharing of love. And also, don't forget that there are people who have their year planned out. There are people who have their budgets for the year. There are also people who do this monthly contribution and all of that. And everything culminates at the end of the year. So I would say when someone looks at his harvest at the end of the year, you would say, okay, I have much and I even have to spare. I can share this spare, right? So the idea of sharing at the end of the year is not wrong. Although I still encourage that before the end of the year, we can still be giving out showing these little gestures of kindness, showing each other love. But the idea of showing love at the end of the year is not wrong.
Really, I'm more concerned for such a time like this, because over 67 lives have been claimed in the course of this tragic event.
It's very sad.
It's not just about statistics, it's also reflecting on real families who are hurting. Each person have lost, one way or the other, have lost the life of their family members, and are the situations which is showing the alarming hunger stride. I mean, recall August, Nigerians took to the street to protest for end bad governance and hunger protests and all of that.
Yeah.
These has continued to be more concern, and let's pay attention to how we can address them. Can palliative really put a stop to hunger completely?
No. I do not believe palliative can completely put a stop to hunger, no. It could just be a bid, an effort to stem the tide, but the solution is not palliative.
We've had palliative for the past, call it 18 months of this government.
Yes.
This government came in removed subsidy from fuel and
education,
floated the naira, and that automatically had caused a lot of hardship. And these are the two factors that have been a problem. And then at the course of that, those are palliative. Palliative is not just this December. Government has started palliative. For the past 18 months of this government up to now. Would you say all of those palliative that have been doled out by government has a good impact on the citizens, or it has not triggered down? What is your assessment from your view?
Okay. From my view, first of all, these palliatives have not totally triggered down. There are people who, out of greed, have hoarded these palliatives from those that really need it. So yes, the palliatives have not triggered down. And then for the ones that have trickled down, it's still not enough. Now, it's not enough. I'm not asking for more palliatives for the people. No, I'm asking for a lasting solution to this problem. Yes. So, like I said, there is a problem of poverty, there's a problem of food insecurity, there's a problem of unemployment. If all of these, one of these or two of these can be addressed, it will go a long way to address this issue, to go a long way to handle the problem.
In a more way to handle all of these issues, the fact that even as much as we are still facing government, those that feel government cannot do all of these things alone, there is a need for individuals, there's a need for corporate bodies to also see what they can do in targeting, the issue of food inflation. Let's pay attention to agriculture, because we ought to feel that food has to come from the farm.
Yes, of course.
And the concern about insecurity is still, painting in the picture of all of these agricultural challenges that some farmers could not access farm because of insecurity. And cost of transportation as well has also been a problem, that some farmers are finding it very difficult to move their goods from this location
of produce to
the other. How can government also address in a way also look at that issue? Because in a way of addressing hunger, the food must be surplus. There must be availability of food. If you're in Abuja, you can access food at the little amount of money that you have. Because I heard that, I've not heard, I've also witnessed that, for instance, pepper is not more available at 100 naira. Tomato is down for big people. Beans is for high class. You now go to onions. So if all of these basics are not, if all of those things that are the normal,
it's basic. Yes, all of these basics.
They are basic. But you can use for instance 2,000 naira to cook rice or something.
As a bachelor,
buy 1 cup of rice and then get
onions, and all of that.
Look at those amount of money cannot secure those food again.
They cannot even take you to the market and back.
It's really concerning. But
it's really concerning, yes.
It means that issue of transportation as well, must be addressed, because it's still increasing the hardship on the life of Nigerians.
Yes. So the issue of transportation needs to be addressed. The issue of security needs to be addressed. Yes, because a lot of these things is hinged on security. Farmers cannot go to the farm because they are afraid. Those that have gotten the goods cannot move it from one place to the other because they are afraid. Yes. So the issue of insecurity needs to be addressed. And then the issue of transportation too. So transportation, insecurity, these two things, I think if they are addressed, it will go a long way to help in food security.
All right, very lastly, what are the tips? What would you advise that in a case where we're having some of these events organized with the intentions of reaching out to Nigerians? Because the intent of the organizers is to, reach out, is to put smiles on the faces of people. It's not. I don't think there is any organizer who had presumed that in such a situation like this, will be recorded, because we've lost this life, and it's really a very moment where we have to really commiserate with families who can now afford. But what can we do to avoid such stampede cases we are recorded in Nigeria? Because before police have come out to say, please, let's all put a stop to every other big social gathering or any palliative distribution. Government of the other hand are reacting. It means that without these, we would have had more cases recorded in different states.
Yes.
It wouldn't have just been the case of Ibadan. In your state, it wouldn't have just been the case of Anambra or this or that of our FCT. It means that it would have also emerged in many states, because that those are still had intentions to distribute food and all of that. But there should be measures, there should be lessons, there should be things that must be put in place before such an event is organized.
Yes. All right, so I would like to say there is a saying by the Ibibio people. They say, you should be aware of that. Yes. So, warning is given, caution is given to the hawk, warning is given to the chicken. Like I said, this is a multifaceted problem, right? So there is the part where the insecurity, the poverty, and the unemployment is also a factor, and then there is the part of the organizers having to put adequate crowd control measures in place. So I would say if these two things are brought together, so first of all, the organizers should know that they should have adequate crowd control measures in place. They should always make sure that they plan for that, adequate crowd control measures. And then the people that are also going out to collect these things, please, I would like to say, if you are watching, please, if you know you have enough to eat, there is no need going out to drag for this food. There are other people that need it more than you. There are other people that are more, should I say, poorer, for a lack of better word to use. Yes, there are other people that are poorer than you. So allow them to go get it. There is no need going to struggle if you have something to eat already. So please allow them to go get it. And then for those organizing, please make sure you have adequate crowd control measures in place. Yes. And also, finally, I would say the government, I know they are trying. I know they are doing as much as they can, but we still want more. We still want more, please. Look into the aspect of insecurity, unemployment, yes, and also food insecurity. Please look into this aspect. It will really help us.
A lot of concern about that, and this is following some side events that have triggered these loss of life. If we look at the cases that have followed, that has been recorded in Oyo, that of Okija in Anambra State and Abuja. It was very imperative for us to have this conversation, and of course to highlight some of those things to avoid future occurrences of this event. Thanks so much, Dandy Johnson, a public affairs analyst, for sharing your thoughts on the program Big Talk.
Thank you.
Everyone, we now turn attention to the issues of increase of budgetary for the security and defense in the country. That those are really raising concern. Proper accountability, if this will help to curb the security threat facing the country across all regions. And recall that the president last week, during the presentation of the budget before the National Assembly, said that the administration was marking 4.91 trillion naira for defense and security for the 2025 fiscal year. We'll go on a break, and once we return from the break, our own political analyst and security expert will be joining us on the show to dissect this issue. Will this increase of the security and defense tackle the issues of insecurity in the country, Nigeria? We'll look at that after this break. Please stay with us. I'll be right back.